In the shadows of London, England, one of the world's most successful species, the brown rat, stakes its claim. A continent away, the sea lions of San Francisco's Pier 39 take a different tack, hauling out en masse in the light of day. And just outside Melbourne, Australia, fruit bats forced from their native home take to the trees of a city park. In search of food and shelter, these uninvited guests use sheer numbers to secure new territory. Their very survival may depend on infesting a place where they're not welcome. Inside the different realms of the wild kingdom, members of a single species assemble in droves. One flock, herd, or troop reign supreme. These are the world's great animal empires. England is the most overcrowded major country in Europe. On average, over 400 people are squeezed into every square kilometer. That's over 50 million residents. And some say there are just as many rats. On the outskirts of London, a derelict basement has been overrun with brown rats. A group of rats is called a mischief. It's a fitting term. At least 100 of these large rodents wreak havoc in the shadows of this building. It's a full-blown infestation. It was once believed that there was one rat for every person in the UK. Scientists suggest that it's more likely one for every 6 people, but that would still mean some 10 million rats. With the exception of Alberta, Canada, where extermination efforts have kept the province rat-free since the 1950s, rats live everywhere people do. After humans, this is the most successful mammal on the planet, which makes it one of the world's greatest animal empires. The brown rat is also referred to as the Norway rat. British naturalists of the 18th century thought that it had migrated to England from Norway. But the species, in fact, originated on the plains of Asia, in northern China and Mongolia. Sometime in the Middle Ages, they began boarding ships, traveling far and wide, and spread to the 4 corners of the globe. By that time, black rats had already spread to Europe during the Roman Empire and had firmly cemented their reputation as household pests. But the larger, more aggressive brown rats eventually took over, displacing their relatives. Brown rats eat a wider variety of food. The transition from wooden buildings to brick and tile construction also favored brown rats. They're much better diggers and can tunnel under walls, and left black rats out in the cold. They also have very good hearing, a highly developed sense of smell, It can see ultraviolet lights that most animals cannot. But while there's much to admire about this super species, a rat is a very unwelcome guest. It was long believed that rats were responsible for the Black Death that devastated Europe in the 1300s. Evidence now suggests they may have been falsely accused. However, the stigma remains. Rats are known to transmit diseases, and they make a mess of basements and attics. So as these rodents multiply, so too do efforts to exterminate them. They are under near constant threat. Rats don't live long. The maximum lifespan of a brown rat is around 3 years. Most barely manage 1. So for this animal empire, every day is truly a rat race. On the northern coast of California, the city of San Francisco is known for its historic icons like the Golden Gate Bridge and Alcatraz Prison. These landmarks, along with the region's moderate climate and easygoing pace, make it a popular place to live and visit. But it's not just an attractive place for residents and tourists. Pier 39, once a popular mooring spot on San Francisco Bay, is now infested with sea lions. Sea lions are part of a group known as pinnipeds, commonly known as seals. In fact, the cliched circus seal, balancing a ball on its nose and jumping through hoops, is typically a California sea lion. Sea lions join fur seals to make up the family Otoridae, also known as eared seals. Unlike other seals, they have external ear flaps. In addition, you can tell the difference by the sea lion's proportionately larger foreflippers and pectoral muscles. Sea lions also have a long, thin ridge of bone running along the skull, known as a sagittal crest. The range of the California sea lion stretches from Alaska in the north to Baja, Mexico in the south. California sea lions spend the summers breeding on the Channel Islands, just over 550 kilometers south of San Francisco. Once the breeding season is over, females stay close to the newborns on the islands. The males set out to the open ocean in search of food for as long as 2 weeks at a time. Between fishing trips, they need to rest or haul up on shore. Many do so on the beaches of Northern California. Large colonies are a fairly common sight along the coast, but less expected in the throng of a bustling metropolis. Pier 39 is in the heart of the city. It's smack dab in the middle of San Francisco's busy waterfront, sandwiched between restaurants, shops, and other attractions. Since 1989, sea lions have taken over Pier 39's K-Dock. The exact reason is unknown. It may be that it's simply a convenient rest stop between the breeding grounds to the south and the foraging waters to the north. Whatever the reason, the arrival of these boisterous bulls has become a seasonal event each winter. Their presence shuts down the pier to boat traffic. And this hauling out has become an inner-city infestation. across the Pacific, on the south coast of Australia. The city of Geelong is an hour's drive southwest of Melbourne. Located on the waters of Port Phillip, Geelong is considered the gateway city for the region. And it is rapidly growing. Home to more than 180,000 people. This Melbourne suburb has been called one of Australia's most livable cities. And not just for humans. Geelong is also home to tens of thousands of bats. The gray-headed flying fox comes by its name honestly. It looks a lot like its namesake. But it is indeed a bat, and a big bat at that. The largest in Australia, and one of the largest in the world. Bats are mammals, the only mammal capable of sustained flight. Bats belong to the order Chiroptera, which literally means handwing. There are two suborders. Most are familiar with the microbats, popularized by Halloween haunted houses, horror stories, and the legend of Dracula. Microbats are smaller, only the size of a mouse. They live in caves and eat bugs. They also use echolocation to find their prey, calling out and using the echo that bounces back to navigate. The gray-headed flying fox, on the other hand, is a megabat. It's not only larger, but it also has good eyesight and a superior sense of smell. This is their food of choice, fruit. In fact, they're commonly known as fruit bats. And instead of caves, they live in trees. Today, fruit bats only live in the tropical rainforests of eastern Australia. Decades ago, they were endemic to all southeastern Australia's forests. Numbers were in the millions. But as trees were cut down to make way for expanding cities and towns, factories and farms, development put added stress on fruit bat habitat. It is estimated that as much as 70% of some of the flying fox's favored foraging sites have been lost since European settlement. As a result, there are now only between 300,000 and 600,000 in the range. They've simply run out of places to live. So, in the late 1980s, the surviving fruit bats in the southeastern state of Victoria made a move. They went from the wild woods to Melbourne and other nearby cities. Now, at least 3 permanent colonies make their home here, including this site in Geelong's Eastern Park. It's hard to blame them. There's food and water nearby. It's warm in winter and cool in summer. And the city's green spaces, like Eastern Park, offer protected trees that are ideal for roosting. As their forest homes continue to fall, more and more fruit bats move to the city looking for a roost. The Eastern Park colony has swelled to as many as 30,000. These big bats are not necessarily a welcome addition to the city. They can be intimidating and noisy. They damage other vegetation, and they are known to carry dangerous viruses. What was once an occasional stopover in the city has become an infestation. Bats in the belfry are one thing. Bats on the golf course is something else altogether. But for the flying foxes themselves, the stakes are even higher. Their very survival depends on a peaceful coexistence with their human hosts. Great Britain's rat population doesn't have quite the same housing problem as the fruit bats. While Australia's bat-friendly forests are scarce, Britain offers more than enough suitable habitats for rats. There are plenty of sewers, garbage-filled alleyways, and bleak building basements to choose from. Rats will live pretty much anywhere they can find food. And they'll eat just about anything. Rats are true omnivores. They prefer grains and meat, but studies have shown that rats aren't picky. Scrambled eggs, macaroni and cheese, pet food, and even leftover fruit, they'll eat whatever happens to be around. Once rats identify a source of food, they first need to gain access. It doesn't take much to make an entrance. With a collapsible rib cage that's hinged at the spine, they can squeeze through cracks half their size. If a rat can get its head through a hole, the rest will follow. They can also enter through plumbing pipes, either by using their razor-sharp claws and excellent balance to climb up the outside, or use their superior swimming skills on the inside. They are such good swimmers, they can tread water for hours on end. And yes, they can even enter a building through a toilet. Once inside, rats start making their home by burrowing. In some cases, this means digging underground and making tunnels. In others, they collect nesting materials, insulation, straw, and any lightweight material they can use to create an enclosure. Burrows provide the pack with shelter and food storage, as well as safe, thermoregulated nests. Each burrow has its own nest chamber. But rats may also share a burrow and raise their young together in a communal nest. They connect their burrow to others made by their relatives. It's a system of 1 to 6 little burrows, not unlike families that choose to live in the same village. After a few days, a second entrance, called a bolt hole, is added by digging from below. It serves as an emergency exit in case the burrow is invaded. Once the first burrow is finished, rats will continue to add on, using the same pattern: dig a tunnel, empty out a cavity, add a bolt hole. Outside the burrow, brown rats tend to confine their movements to the same routes every day. Gradually, trails form on the surface. Rats don't like to go far. As long as food is available, they'll stay within 20 meters of their nest. It's a matter of avoiding risks. Even though these are incredibly adaptable creatures, they're also very vulnerable, especially outside the burrow. Predators, interspecies conflict, and the occasional run-in with an exterminator can result in a rat colony having a mortality rate of 95%. Most rats don't make it past their first birthday. How is it then that rats have maintained such a successful empire? In a word, breeding. Rats reach sexual maturity at an early age, at just 5 weeks old, and usually start breeding at 2 months. And they can breed throughout the year. Mating behavior depends on the colony's population density. When numbers are low, one male rat will monopolize a burrow of females. It's a polygynous system where he mates with a number of females in his group, and only the members of his group. In this case, the male will defend his territory fiercely from other rats. He'll chase, bite and box, fluff his hair, hiss, squeal, and wag his tail. Anything to keep other males away from the females in the burrow. At higher population densities, males can no longer defend a burrow against rivals. There are simply too many. One alpha male rules the pack, but he can't control all the females. In this polygyandrous system, multiple males mate with multiple females. A female rat goes into heat or estrus every 4 to 5 days. The gestation period is only 21 days, which means she can have about a dozen litters in 1 year. And each of those litters can have anywhere between 7 and 14 pups. Her offspring will start breeding within 2 months. And their offspring will be able to breed in another 2 months. That means one mating couple can produce as many as 15,000 descendants in a year if left to breed unchecked. At this rate, a few rats can quickly become an infestation, and an infestation can spell trouble. A crowded rat pack leads to increased competition and conflict, and can draw the unwanted attention of the local exterminator. Like rats and bats, California sea lions are motivated by hunger. The pod at San Francisco's Pier 39 has figured out something their fellow migratory sea lions haven't. That the safe harbor of the pier provides them with just about everything they need. For one thing, there's plenty of fish in the sea, or in this case, herring in the bay. Sea lions are binge feeders, eating all they can when food is plentiful. They'll eat anywhere between 5 and 20 kilograms of food or more every day. In addition to herring, they'll prey on some 50 species of marine life, including squids, octopuses, hake, salmon, and anchovy. They are excellent swimmers and can spend 15 hours at sea, diving up to 200 times. They hold their breath for up to 20 minutes and dive to depths of 200 meters. And they are speedy swimmers, clocking in at 35 kilometers per hour. While the Pier 39 sea lions may not have to work so hard for a meal, they still need a spot to haul out and rest. And the pier provides a perfect accommodation. The docks rise and lower in the tide, saving them from having to move up and down from the rocks on the shore. It's not unusual for them to sleep 8 to 12 hours a day, and they fast for several days at a time. Sea lions are very gregarious social animals, so it's normal for large groups to haul out together. California sea lions can't sweat or pant. Their normal body temperature is about 38 degrees Celsius. In order to regulate this temperature, they must move around in their environment. When it's cold, a sea lion will cozy up to others to stay warm. If it gets too hot, he'll lift a flipper or fan himself. Sea lion flippers have many capillaries that can be cooled off by the wind when sunbathing. Of course, he can also take a dip in the bay. The pier is also a place to haul out, providing protection both from storms and predators like sharks and orcas. It may seem like an ideal spot for these pinnipeds, but that means it's a popular one too. On average, there can be up to 600 hauled up on a pier. A record 1,700 were counted in 2009. And there's not much room for a few hundred sea lions. These are massive marine mammals. A fully grown male averages more than 300 kilograms and is about 2.5 meters long. This is a boisterous bunch, prone to bickering. When it comes to prime real estate, sea lions aren't afraid to fight over who got there first, and more importantly, who gets to stay. Outside the city of Melbourne, Australia, a colony of gray-headed flying foxes has taken over the trees of Geelong's Eastern Park. These fruit bats have both summer and winter roosting camps in the trees. This summer camp, from September through around June, is their main camp. During the day, hundreds hang from the branches high up in the trees. There's a good reason they hang upside down. Bats are top-heavy. The biggest bones and muscles are those used for flying. It's far more energy efficient to hang than to defy gravity and stand upright. It's during these long summer days that they mate. Males set up mating territories, generally 3.5 body lengths along branches. Males fight for these territories. Those with the best locations, closer to the center, have access to more and better females. Males with lower rent spots may have only one mate, or they're stuck being bachelors. At the beginning of the mating season, adult females move in towards the male territories, where they become part of harems. The harem consists of a male and up to 5 females who come and go. It's the females who control the copulation process. Mating takes place during the day between March and May. After about 6.5 months, babies, known as pups, are born. For the first 3 weeks, the pups are heavily dependent on their moms. Bat mothers provide milk and warmth for their babies, which cling to their moms for the first few weeks of life. As the day comes to a close, the adult bats, ready to leave in search of food. Pups that are not yet 3 weeks old will cling to their mothers when they go foraging. Older pups remain in the roost until they are weaned at about 6 months. Bachelors and lactating females leave the roost first. Mating males wait and guard their harem until all have left. It's a catch-22. Those that leave earlier have more time and light to work with. But this also makes them more vulnerable to predators like hawks and eagles. For each fruit bat, it's a decision that could very well determine whether they will survive the night. In the dark recesses of this London basement, there's tension in the rat colony. There may have been plenty of space when the infestation began. But now, the rapidly expanding population is putting pressure on the overcrowded burrow. There's just not enough room. And now, there are even more mouths to feed. Even though most rats won't live past the age of 2 or 3, they're reproducing far faster than they're dying off. In just 4 months, this colony has grown by a factor of 10. Conflict is inevitable. Crowded rats turn aggressive. The alpha male goes on the offensive. He attacks and pushes out lower-ranking males. It may seem like an extreme solution to the overcrowding problem, but it's a matter of maintaining the balance. If it gets too crowded, the strong will drive weaker members out of the colony. If the population declines, the remaining rats simply increase their reproductive rate to restore numbers. But it's not always one big rat race to see who stays and who goes. Studies have shown that rats also have the capacity to work together. They'll cooperate to get food. It's even suggested that a rat that has received help in the past is more likely to help another rat, even one that is unknown to him. In other words, cooperative rats don't just return favors, they also pay it forward. Scientists call this general reciprocation. It's the first time this behavior has been documented in non-humans, and another example of how intelligent and adaptable these rodents are. And they must be. Though rats have the respect of researchers, and some even find a happy home as pets, they generally remain unwelcome house guests. Rats are under constant threat. And so, as the day breaks, the mischief settles safely back into the burrow. They spend the daylight hours hidden away as best they can. For some, there's work to be done storing food and maintaining the burrow. For others, it's time to sleep. They huddle together to conserve heat. New pups nestle together, depending on each other and the heat from their mother. Once the young males are old enough, they will leave the nest and strike out on their own, setting off in search of new territory. And once again, beginning the cycle of infestation and expanding the empire. It's October in the city of San Francisco. There's no vacancy on Pier 39's K-Dock. At its busiest, the pier may be home for 500 to 600 sea lions. It can get awfully noisy when a few hundred large marine mammals haul out of the water. California sea lions are among the most vocal of all mammals. They bark, growl, and grunt loudly. During the mating season, males will bark incessantly at each other as they clash over territory. These fights frequently turn physical. Breeding bulls will do whatever it takes to establish dominance and claim a harem. Here on Pier 39, during the non-breeding season, it's the young submissive males that are most aggressive. Bulls usually reach 10 years of age before they mate. When that time comes, they must be ready. So they train. It's every sea lion for himself. While some scuffles at the pier are over favored spots on the docks, most fights are between these juvenile males, practicing the skills that they will need in the future. They work their way up the hierarchy, taking part in regular bouts as they try to climb the social ladder. Only the strongest will get the chance to mate. It's a rowdy affair. They grapple and bite each other, and bump and thump their necks and chests. Though injuries are common, fatalities are rare. A skirmish usually ends when one or the other is physically pushed away. Currently, the population of California sea lions is healthy. But it's not without its threats. Foraging adults can become entangled in fish nets or plastic packaging materials, causing injury or even drowning. And the planet's changing climate is a growing concern. Declines in sea lion numbers have been linked to exceptionally warm currents that cause fish populations to shift. This can lead to poor nutrition, especially dangerous to pregnant and nursing females. These are increasing threats to the survival of the species. These young bulls face an uncertain future in a changing world. When the summer is over, they will join the other adults as they make their way from Pier 39 back to the breeding grounds of the Channel Islands. On the islands, their training will be put to the test. These young bulls will fight to win breeding rights, a chance to continue their lineage and ensure a future for their empire. Bats' wing bones are the same as those of a human arm and hand. But these bones are proportionately much longer. They're connected by a double membrane of skin that forms the wing. Different bat species have different wing shapes depending on where and how they eat. Flying foxes have an average wingspan of 1 meter. Flying foxes need their large wings to travel the relatively long distances to fruit-filled forests and fields. As day turns to dusk, the sky above Geelong's eastern park comes alive. The gray-headed flying foxes are setting off in search of food. When a wave of these large bats take flight, it quickly fills the sky. Their departure is an impressive sight. Most will travel an average radius of about 30 kilometers from the roost. Some will even go as far as 100 kilometers to find food. They travel at a speed of about 7 meters per second. If conditions are right, they can ride the wind and travel twice as fast. And they have to hurry if they're to be back before sunup. It's a myth that bats are blind. All bats can see, and see better than humans at night. But fruit bats have the best eyesight of all. They use their big eyes, along with a keen sense of smell, to locate food. Many of their food plants have blossoms that bats can see from above. They're on the lookout for the flowers of native trees, such as the many species of eucalyptus, as well as turpentines and paperbarks. And of course, fruit. Bananas, mangoes, dates, avocados, just about any kind of fruit will do. Far from the safety of the roost, these flying mammals are vulnerable. Out in the open air, predatory birds like hawks and eagles hunt the night sky. Weasels, snakes, and even cats prey upon fruit bats when they stop to rest or eat. But it's humans that present the greatest danger. Fruit farms are an attractive place for a gray-headed flying fox to find a meal. Farmers have been known to trap and shoot bats to protect their crops. Recent conservation efforts are trying to curb this trend. It's part of an increasing awareness of the important role that fruit bats play in the local ecosystem. The seeds they swallow move quickly through their system. They take only 20 minutes to digest and are spread through the fruit bat's excretion. Bat guano is good for the environment. Increased clearing in the last 2 centuries has isolated scattered patches of forest. Flying foxes are able to move seeds over longer distances than insects and birds, linking these patches of native vegetation. In this way, gray-headed flying foxes can help rebuild the habitat that has been taken from them. But for now, as day breaks, they must return to the safety of the roost, to the eastern park trees, and the city that they have claimed as their home. Twice each year, in Canada's frigid north, millions of caribou embark on an epic journey. The largest mass migration of any mammal walking the earth. On the California coastline, massive elephant seals meet to breed and battle after months at sea. Monarch butterflies flutter thousands of kilometers in a multi-generational marathon. These creatures survive incredible migrations, overcoming deadly obstacles, crossing oceans and continents to ensure the future of the species. Inside the different realms of the wild kingdom, members of a single species assemble in droves. One flock, herd, or troop reigns supreme. These are the world's great animal empires. Nunavik, the most northern reaches of the Canadian province of Quebec. This is the tundra, a wild, empty expanse of land. But it won't be empty for long. It's late August, a restless time here. This caribou is heading south. Sometimes called reindeer in other parts of the world, caribou got their name from a Mi'kmaq First Nations word meaning one who paws at the ground. They scrape the ground with their hooves to dig up lichens that comprise the bulk of the caribou's diet. He stands 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder, the third largest member of the deer family. He spent the past 5 months in the farthest northern reaches of his range. But as the days grow shorter, it's time to move on to sparse forests called taiga, 1,000 kilometers south, where he will spend the winter. And he's not alone. This is the Leaf River herd. It's an animal empire on the move. The largest caribou herd in North America, estimated at 330,000 animals. The herd marches in long strands, stretching for kilometers on wide expanses of open land. coming together at narrow passes and obstacles. And the Leaf River herd is only one of many. Millions of caribou migrating to cross the tundra each spring and autumn. The greatest land migration on Earth. Caribou are an important cultural and dietary keystone to the people of the North. One Inuit story says the first woman on Earth dug a hole in the ice to fish. From the hole, she pulled every animal in the world. The last to come was the caribou. She ordered the caribou to multiply. Soon, they covered the land, enough caribou to feed all of mankind. Unlike other deer, both male and female caribou can grow antlers. But only some does grow them, and they're proportionately small compared to most deer. The males are much larger for jousting with other bucks. Only the moose can boast a more impressive rack. Three months ago in spring, the Leaf River herd moved north. The females led the migration, searching for the perfect place to have their babies far away from forest predators like wolves. Now, as winter closes in, food in the north is becoming scarce. They've got to move. They'll be bringing a new generation with them. There's not much time to grow up. At just 2 weeks old, these fawns must struggle through their first southern migration. With Junior in tow, the return will be far more dangerous and slow going. The tree line is hundreds of kilometers away. The survival of the empire depends on the female's ability to get their young back to the forest alive before winter. Each day presents mortal danger. Death could come in the form of a broken leg or a prowling bear. Or it could be something even bigger, like a river. On the coastline of Southern California, these rocky beaches are where a giant of the sea returns after a migration of its own. Elephant seals are named for the fleshy proboscis on the massive mature males. They're colossally large, with a big bull weighing up to 2,200 kilograms, about as much as an SUV. The females are much smaller than their mates, weighing up to 640 kilograms. That's still more than a dairy cow. Twice a year, northern elephant seals migrate out to sea, then return to the beaches where they were born. They travel further than any other seal, more than 3,000 kilometers. The reason for their long journey is food. Males and females have different dietary requirements, so they go to different places. The males stick closer to the coast and head north to feeding grounds off Washington State, British Columbia, and Alaska. They prefer to dine on small sharks and rays in shallower waters. The females go further into the open ocean. They've been spotted as far west as the Hawaiian Islands. They prefer to feast on open water species, especially squid. While at sea, the northern elephant seals forage for food almost constantly. They may not even stop for sleep. They spend most of their time underwater. Elephant seals dive deeper than any other species of seal and can hold their breath for up to an hour and a half at a time. But if there are to be baby elephant seals, male and female must meet somewhere. And this is the place. Point Piedra Blancas, near San Simeon, California. It's September. Elephant seals are beginning to congregate on beaches and rocky outcroppings like this, all along the coastline of California and Mexico. It's called the Fall Haulout. The seals arrive at different times, depending on their age and sex. Last year's pups, juveniles, and subadult seals are returning to the rookeries of their birth. These males are 5 years old, just hitting puberty. Their noses haven't grown to their full fleshy length yet. They won't grow to full size and maturity until they're 8 or 9 years old. The females reach sexual maturity earlier, at 3 or 4 years old. These younger elephant seals are here to rest and relax. While on land, they don't eat much. Learning to fast is part of growing up for an elephant seal. Adults don't eat at all during breeding season. But it's not all fun in the sun. The young males play fight, sparring practice for when they're older. When they grow up, these battles will determine who gets to breed. They rear back their heads and bellow through their undersized noses and go chest to chest, sizing each other up. They bare their fearsome teeth. But it's all for show, mostly. The juveniles are still more bark than bite. But when the big bulls arrive in a few months, that's when the fighting will get serious. On the other side of the continent, millions of winged creatures are about to embark on another huge migration. It is one of the world's most spectacular mass movements, undertaken by one of its tiniest and most delicate creatures, the monarch butterfly. Instantly recognizable, a regal symbol of beauty and transformation. Its migration is an intergenerational odyssey. Each autumn, monarch butterflies migrate from their summer homes in southern Canada and the northern United States to spend winter in warmer climates. As summer comes in Nova Scotia's Annapolis Valley, on Canada's east coast, a female is looking for the right spot to settle down. She's looking for just the right plant, the milkweed. She's ready to lay her eggs, up to 1,000 of them. As a caterpillar, the monarch doesn't stray far from the plant where it was laid. The caterpillar is voracious. eating its own body weight in milkweed leaves every day. The milkweed gives the caterpillar a toxic taste that stays with it for life and keeps predators away. The caterpillar feasts for about 3 weeks, growing so fast it sheds its skin 4 times. Now, the caterpillar seeks out a horizontal branch to begin its final transformation. It spits out silk from its lower lip, creating a mat on the branch. Then, 2 of its back legs forge together, creating one appendage. Tiny hooks latch onto the silk mat like Velcro. Once its skin begins to peel, it's only a couple of minutes before it sheds its 5th and final layer of caterpillar skin. The pale shell is a hard exoskeleton called a chrysalis. The very cells comprising the caterpillar's body break down into a stewy goo and then reform. A week or so later, the transformation is complete, and the butterfly inside is ready to emerge. Free from its chrysalis, the butterfly hangs for hours until its wings fill with blood, dry, and stiffen. If this butterfly were born in summer, it would live 6 more weeks, during which time it would breed, lay its eggs, then die. But this is an autumn butterfly. So after all this, it still has a migration of thousands of kilometers ahead. In northern Quebec, the Leaf River caribou herd's migration meanders through the village of Kangersook. The herd's route changes every year, but the migration dates back millennia, before there were any towns here at all. It wasn't long ago that people here lived out on the land, following and hunting the herd. Towns were built in the mid-20th century, and the nomadic way of life came to an end for most. But the North is changing once again. Caribou herds are shrinking everywhere. The Leaf River herd is the largest left in North America. Even their numbers are down more than 1/3 in recent years. The nearby George River herd used to number nearly 1 million. But in just 2 decades, the population collapsed by 98%. From 800,000 caribou to just 15,000 today. Nobody is sure why the herds are shrinking. The likely cause is a combination of commercial hunting, industrial development, disease, and deforestation. In response, the Inuit have suspended their hunt in the past few years. It's the first time anyone can remember that the Inuit haven't hunted the George River caribou. Caribou are uniquely specialized to survive here in the north. The short, hollow hairs of their outer coat provide insulation against the cold. Their entire body, even their muzzle, is fully furred. Their long legs and huge stride cover massive expanses of ground. Even as babies, caribou are born to run. At just 1 day old, a caribou fawn can outrun an Olympic sprinter. These fawns are just 2 weeks old and well into their first migration south. Mother and baby form a bond from birth and recognize each other by sight, sound, and smell. The fawns stay by their mother's side as much as possible through the journey. The route isn't easy. The ancient paths lead to a place where the open tundra tumbles down a massive rock face. The yawning valley of the Paine River divides the landscape. In open plains, the herd splits into smaller groups, sticking mostly with members of their own gender, in gatherings of a few dozen to a few hundred. But here, there's just one safe path from the highest elevation down to the riverbank. This is a bottleneck in the migration. One by one, the herd trickles down the hillside like a mountain stream. A river blocks their path. Rivers can be more dangerous than any predator. Hundreds of caribou die attempting these crossings every year. It will take 3 full days for the entire herd to cross this river. Instincts and their stomachs drive them on. It's December. The big bull elephant seals begin arriving on the beaches of California and Mexico. They've been at sea for at least 3 months, bulking up for mating season. It's a lot of work to haul their 2,300 kilogram bodies out of the surf. Blubber accounts for up to 50% of the male's body weight. It keeps them warm in the frigid ocean and fuels them during the hungry months on shore. All that fat was almost the species' undoing. When the California gold rush hit in 1849, there was a sudden spike in demand for industrial lubrication for mining machinery. Back then, that meant whale oil. But whale populations had already been decimated. Hunters turned their sights to the elephant seal and all but wiped out the species in just 15 years. In 1884, a tiny colony of seals was discovered off the coast of Mexico. It's believed all 100,000 northern elephant seals alive today can be traced to that one group. They come by their distinctive nose naturally. But their pink chest calluses, they earned those the hard way, through years of battling with other males. Bull elephant seals are fiercely territorial. This one is patrolling the water, snorting and blowing bubbles to warn off any other males that approach. Their noses also make great echo chambers, booming out signals to other seals. When mating season begins, they constantly harass any females on the beach until a pecking order is determined. The moment a juvenile male starts getting too friendly, a bigger bull comes in. And a fight breaks out. Another male comes up the middle to take his chance with a female. As though that's not enough, a fourth male decides to get involved. The female slips away into the sea as the males fight it out on the beach. It's rare, but these battles can be to the death. Only one male can conquer a beach or a section of beach and mate with a harem of females. Competition must be chased off or beaten into submission. There can only be one king of this empire, the dominant male of the harem on this beach. To the victor go the spoils. A single male can hold a harem of up to 50 females. It's evolution's way of ensuring that only the biggest, strongest males pass on their genes to the next generation. As August turns to September, the monarch butterfly from Nova Scotia begins its long trip south. At first, it is a solitary voyage. Individual butterflies gradually fluttering their ways southwest. But eventually, it joins 150 million others, the great-great-grandchildren of those that flew north the preceding spring. Remarkably, they make the incredible journey in a state something like hibernation in other animals. It's called diapause, a slowing down of the metabolism. It allows a single monarch to live long enough to make the entire trip south. The migration path follows a corridor determined by flowering nectar plants, air currents, and climatic conditions. Research suggests the butterflies use an internal compass to navigate, an operation involving both their eyes and antennae. Their eyes watch the sun's position in the sky, which changes throughout the day. Their antennae contain an internal biological clock to determine the time. The butterfly's tiny brains compare those two pieces of information to determine which direction is southwest. They can be blown off course easily, but gradually reorient themselves. Monarchs fly at speeds of 24 to 40 kilometers per hour. Overnighting together in clusters called roosts. Landforms like mountains and coastlines gradually funnel the scattered individual butterflies together as they get closer to their winter homes. The destination for some butterflies is California's coastline. Our butterfly from Nova Scotia will flutter further south to the Oyamel fir forests of Mexico. The arrival of the monarchs in Mexico's interior highlands coincides with an annual celebration, Dia de Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Traditional folklore says the monarchs represent the souls of the deceased, returning to the earth for the celebration. By December, monarchs cover the trees. It's not the riot of color you might expect, because only the monarch's dull outer wings are exposed. A monarch butterfly weighs less than a gram, but they are so crowded, tree branches can creak and break under the weight of tens of thousands of butterflies. The largest monarch overwintering sites are in Mexico and California, but smaller ones have been discovered in Arizona and Florida. Until 40 years ago, many of these places were a secret to everyone, except the butterflies. Now, a few of the biggest ones in Mexico are protected as World Heritage Sites. Nobody's quite sure how the butterflies chose these places, but it seems to be a combination of the right trees, climate, water supply, forest canopy, and isolation. The migratory butterflies live to be 6 months old, longer than any other generation of monarch. That's because they put off breeding, remaining in a state of perpetual adolescence. The butterflies cluster together to conserve heat. They stay in a state called quiescence, keeping still and conserving energy. Everything has to be just right for the monarchs to survive. If it's too cold, they will burn through their fat supplies and die. Unusually warm weather can stimulate them to breed and begin their northern migration too early, flying straight into the frosty northern winter. About half of all monarchs that arrive in the wintering grounds die before the return trip. Cold snaps and storms can kill millions more. In 2002, a snowstorm in Mexico killed 500 million monarchs, 3 times as many butterflies than the entire migration consists of today. Overall, the number of migrating monarchs is down by 75% in the last 25 years. But if everything goes just right, these monarchs will stay here until March and then begin their part of the journey home. Crossing rivers is a fact of life and death for the caribou herds of northern Quebec. Their winter home in the forest lays hundreds of kilometers past the opposite shore. The adaptations that enable caribou to survive the frozen northern winter also help them in the water. Adult caribou are strong swimmers. Their broad hooves and powerful legs help them paddle through the water. Short, hollow bristles of their outer fur keep them warm and increase their buoyancy. The arteries and veins in a caribou's legs are intertwined, so hot blood leaving the heart warms the cold blood traveling toward it. Their stout bodies and short ears minimize their surface area and exposure to the cold. Still, strong currents can sweep even an adult bull off course. Caribou of all ages must make the swim. At only 2 weeks old, this year's fawns haven't had much practice swimming. If they get separated from their mothers, no other female will adopt them. Sticking together is a matter of survival. Separated from its mother, calls out to her. Mother turns back for her baby. She positions herself downstream to keep the current from taking her fawn again. They've made it across, but there will be more rivers and other dangers to come. Once they clamber onto shore, they take a moment to rest and feed for the journey ahead. Still hundreds of kilometers to go. The caribou's future is uncertain, both for this year's fawns and the entire Leaf River herd. Their forest destination will offer food and shelter for the coming winter. But there will be prowling predators too, like bears and wolves. At just 2 weeks old, this fawn is still only halfway through his first rite of passage. He could live another 15 years, making 30 more migrations. The trip seems to be getting longer every year. Over the past few decades, the Leaf River herd's spring calving grounds have gradually shifted 300 kilometers to the north. Researchers believe we may be in the twilight of this great migration. They fear the Leaf River herd will be extinct in just 65 years. For now, even after clearing the river, the herd still has a long way to go. The tree line is still hundreds of kilometers away. It's late December on the bluffs and beaches of California. The male elephant seals have been battling on shore for 2 weeks, and now all the female northern elephant seals have arrived. The females bicker and bellow at one another as they jostle for space on the beach, but don't fight like the males do. Females are pregnant when they arrive and give birth shortly after. They lose 30% of their body weight during their time on shore, burning massive amounts of calories nursing and protecting their pups. Newborns weigh about 35 kilograms. The pups don't have any blubber, so their black coat helps them soak up heat from the sun to stay warm. Life on the bluffs is dangerous for the babies. They're not alone. Coyotes prowl, looking to pick off weak or unattended pups. Even the adult seals present a significant danger. As males battle for control of the beach, a pup that can't get out of the way fast enough can be crushed. Elephant seal mothers are fiercely protective of their newborns. A young male who comes too close gets a stern warning. She's not as big as the male, but she will fight him if she has to. The male won't take the hint. Junior can't swim yet, so he can't flee. He's trapped between the huge blubbery bodies. The harem's dominant male comes to the rescue. He sends the upstart male packing and drifts off back to sleep. All elephant seals cover themselves with sand while on shore. It's likely an effort to keep cool in the hot sun. They don't have any blubber in their armpits, so raising one fin like this is another way of cooling off. They scratch constantly. It probably just feels good, but in a few months, it will help with the annual molt in which the elephant seal sheds huge swaths of skin. After giving birth, there's just a short window of time for the mothers to recover before mating season begins. She nurses for just 28 days, then immediately goes into heat, signaling males of all ages to try to mate with her. The dominant male, having fought off the competition, begins the courtship by placing a flipper across her back. He uses his massive body to hold her in place. Through a process called delayed implantation, the pregnancy doesn't take hold for a few months. So birth coincides with a haul out next winter. Not long after mating, the mothers will leave the beach to begin their long migration into the open Pacific in February and March. The pups are left behind for another 6 weeks or so. They've got to fend for themselves and survive off the fat they've built up until they learn to swim and hunt on their own. The males leave soon after the females, heading for the coastal waters off Washington State, British Columbia, and Alaska. They'll all be back again, first for the spring molt, then again in the autumn to begin the cycle once again. By February, the days have grown longer in the butterfly forests of Mexico and California. The changing light draws the monarch out of its hibernation-like state of diapause. It's time for the butterfly to begin its migration north. The butterflies vibrate their wings to bring their bodies up to temperature before beginning flight. They have a long way to go. The journey is up to 4,000 kilometers. But unlike the trip south, the northbound journey won't be completed by any one butterfly, but rather will be an intergenerational relay. The butterfly that came all the way from Nova Scotia will die soon, but first she will lay her eggs on milkweed plants along the way. Then her children will continue the voyage. It takes 4 months and at least 3 generations to make the whole trip north. Today, fewer butterflies make the migration than in decades past. In northern regions, suburban development and herbicide used to destroy milkweed habitats where monarchs begin their lives. In Mexico, many forests are threatened by logging. In California, government and private efforts are underway to protect 450 overwintering sites identified in the state over the past 30 years. Butterfly lovers hope to preserve this flying animal empire for generations to come. By land, by air, and by sea, these creatures embark on life-threatening odysseys to feed, breed, and escape the changing seasons. The world these animals move through is changing all around them. Some of these remarkable migrations are on the verge of disappearing. For now, they persevere, following paths established in a time before human memory. The world's great moving animal empires.